listeners and viewers, to another week of Deducation, the Teachers Talking Terror podcast, where myself, Mike,
and me, Courtney,
are going to talk about another movie, one neither one of us had seen. It's a rare occasion here. It's like
I think it's a first.
Halley's Comet. Outside of the Terrifier movies, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's like Halley's Comet. It's rare that one flies through that we haven't seen. This week we are talking about 1996's Stephen King-based movie Thinner, directed by Tom Holland, who also is responsible for directing Child's Play, the original Child's Play, as well as the original Fright Night. Two other movies you've not seen.
Nope.
But they're a lot of fun. But today we're talking about Thinner, like I said, based on a Stephen King novel about a man who's fat and comes up with a very unconventional way to lose weight.
Yeah. But I mean, I think we would all, like we said, just swipe a gypsy with our car.
Like you said, you text me like, how do I hit a gypsy? I do want to. We're going to go right up front here, and in today's world, the term gypsy is frowned upon. It's a negative term. It's and it's understood, and so our usage of the term is solely based on the story. It is not our personal beliefs. Matter of fact, I'm going to try and limit it. I know that these the group in question in the movie are from Romania, and so I'm gonna substitute gypsy with Romani, just out of respect for those that have been faced with the persecuting term of gypsy. It's something that I think Hollywood has thrown in our face for so long that we're often led to believe there's no problem with it. But, of course, there is. Anytime you're using a derogative term to describe a group of people, it should be frowned upon. So, but it was still at a time when this movie came out that term wasn't as negative. It didn't have the negative connotation. So, yeah, we're dealing with our main character, Billy, who is, first of all, he's got a broken scale. I'm going to go right up front and say that. Because if you're going to tell me that this man, who granted is wearing a fat suit, but if this man weighs 300 pounds, no, I'm out, checking out already. No, I don't weigh 300 pounds, but I feel that I look like I look in much better shape than he did, and our weights aren't that far apart. And so I'm like, no, that scale's broken. There's no way that this guy looks this way. Yeah, so Billy is an obese lawyer. He's married with a daughter. And the movie kicks off with him wrapping up a court case. Yeah.
For anyone who watches Criminal Minds, Rossi.
Yeah.
Rossi is this mafia boss type. Richie is his name.
Yeah, Richie the Hammer.
Played
by Joe Mantegna, who is he is an accomplished actor. I've always liked Joe Mantegna's work.
And so he closes that case out. He wins, and we very quickly find out that his wife Heidi is monitoring his diet.
Yes, because he is visually obese.
Yes,
and they it's. I feel bad for Robert John Burke, the actor who played Billy, because I feel this movie in some ways is a little. I don't want to say they insult the audience, but they really do put our intelligence at question, because we have this very large man. He's got jowls and he's just a very big man. He's stepping on a scale. He's lying about his weight. But it's like early on in this movie, every scene he's in, he's eating.
And it's disgusting.
Yes, he's constantly he'll walk past and pick up candy out of a candy dish. He's just constantly putting food in his mouth. And so it's we get it. He's fat. We get it.
Yeah.
But
he likes food.
Yeah. And you're right, though. His wife she's trying to get him back in shape. she's making him a smoothie in the morning, like, this is what you're going to eat. And, like, he weighs himself at 300, tells his wife he's 297. She's like, that's what you weighed last week. And so she is. She's really trying to help him get into a better shape for a better, just health reasons, I'm guessing.
Yeah, better lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so they go celebrate this closed law case, and
we meet the Romanis first as they're rolling into town, and they set up, and it almost looks like just the town square. They set up this, like, they even call it a gypsy festival. Like, they just set up this. They're there and they're selling their trinkets and they're doing their fire breathing. It's just extremely stereotypical of what this denomination of people experience. To which we get the vibe that they all have these, like, powers, I guess, because he's upstairs meeting with, like, his lawyer boss, and there's there's, like, Romani Hottie, throwing knives across the street, and they make a crude comment about how she looks, and she, like, turns and looks up at him like she heard him. And so they're the Romanis are there, and they're just trying to be there to make their livelihood. They get run out by this judge and the police, and it's like you get the vibe that, like, the law system is all on board together. The lawyer, the judge, the police, they're all buddying up this early. But so then you're getting to because they won this case, they go out and celebrate.
Yes, and he is, of course, disgustingly eating everything in front of him. It was hard to watch at some points because it's just like, man, I really hope I never meet someone that eats like this. Because,
and the fact that he has absolutely zero willpower.
Yeah, like the dessert's coming and he's like foaming at the mouth.
Yeah, licking his lips, and it's like
when he walks away and he's like dipping his fingers into like food that's still on the plate. It's like, no, dude, just stop eating.
Yeah, it's like and granted, I enjoy my food as well. I was even commenting to my wife today how frustrating it is because I had breakfast. I'm a schedule eater. I ate breakfast when I woke up, and I was not hungry for lunch, but it was lunchtime, so I have to eat. So I did, and even as I'm making it, I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm not even hungry.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wasn't, like, salivating over the thought of food.
Yeah.
I was just eating because it's like, and honestly, I probably will eat dinner tonight, but I might not. I don't know. Like, I really am satisfied now. This guy never seems to be satisfied. Billy is constantly just grubbing on something.
Yeah. And so on their drive home, Billy is a bit distracted.
Yeah, speaking of grubbing on something.
And this is where we meet the Romani older, who I thought was a couple.
Yeah, I did too. I think we were supposed to think that. Yeah, they go into like the pharmacy.
Yeah.
Which you probably didn't recognize who the pharmacist was. Stephen King.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, he more often than not, he makes a cameo in the movies that his books, they're based on his books, I should say. Because I think even in Child's Play, he was the pastor at Gage's funeral.
I'll have to pay attention for that.
Yeah, Stephen King shows up a lot in his movies. But yeah, Stephen King was the pharmacist, as you said, like. I don't even remember the old man's name. It does. It's something.
Yeah,
Tadzu. Yeah. Yeah, Tadzu and his woman are.
He's got a ginormous.
Oh, yeah. Like
they had mentioned it in the movie, like a black cancerous spot. And it's like, yeah, that's what it looks like. Like, it was nasty.
Yeah.
And he sends the woman that's with him out to go get something. I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
It was, and she gets hit by Billy, and
because Billy's wife was congratulating him while driving for for the good work that he did. I'm
Yes.
just trying to distract him from food.
Yeah, it was like, are you thinking about food now?
Yeah.
And so this, I mean, the lady dies, and she's flipped right over.
Yeah.
Next day, he's got this, like, not a trial. He called it something else. I don't remember what it was, but everyone was on his side. Like,
Yeah.
she ran out. She was trying to steal. He was going the speed limit. But, I mean, the odds were just in his favor for sure.
The system was set up because, again, these are the Romani people we did not even want in town.
Yes.
And the judge and the cop and the lawyer are all in cahoots to get him off. Mm-hmm. Well, so was his wife.
Yeah.
That's why all this all started.
Yeah, exactly. And so Tadzu meets up with him outside of the courthouse, and he just kind of comes up very slowly and, like, rubs his hand on his face, and he's like, thinner. That's all he says to him. Thinner. And, I mean, just right then and there, like, Billy hops in the vehicle, and he starts to get thinner. Yeah.
Yeah, he drops, like, 15 pounds by that afternoon. Like,
yeah.
but no exercise, no change in diet. Like, he's just slimming down.
Yeah, he's still munching on the 15 bags of potato chips they have on the counter.
Taking a lot of pride in the fact that he's losing all this weight without, and it's like, you're a lawyer. Like, I know there is some intelligence in your head because you made it through law school.
Yes.
Why did you not ever put two and two together? That's like, wow, I'm not even trying and I'm losing all this weight.
Yeah, exactly. And
let me ask you this. If you were hit with a curse like this, what do you, like, knowing really you could eat whatever you want and it's not ever going to pay the price? Like, what would you eat? Like, because Billy is just eating everything all the time. Like, what would be your go-to, like, finally heaven has arrived, I can eat and lose weight at the same time? What would you do? What would you eat?
It would be pasta sided with cheesecake. Those are my two favorite foods. Like, I love all kinds of pasta and I love all kinds of cheesecake.
Nice. So you'd be like a frequent at the Olive Garden then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you eat?
Oh, man, that's a good one. I probably pizza. I do enjoy knowing that it's like I could eat as much as I want, and there's so many different varieties of it.
There are, because wow, I'm like turning into Billy. I'm like, you could have Papa John's, Monaco's,
dessert wise, probably cookies.
Okay.
I'm a big, like, I enjoy my desserts. Don't get me wrong, but I've got a real soft spot for cookies.
See, and that's one I could just pass up.
Oh, I can't. Like, I know we have Oreos in the house, but I won't, because I'm not one of those that, like, I go seek them out. But if there's a bunch of desserts there, I don't even look at cookies as a dessert. I look at it as like an appetizer dessert.
They're like just a snack.
Right, like, I'm going to have a slice of pie and a cookie, because a cookie's not going to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
But if like you take two cookies, no one flinches. You take two slices of pie, you look like an animal. So it's
I think that's why I don't do cookies, because like they don't scratch that itch. Like, right. I love cheesecake.
What like today, like what would an appropriate, okay, because we've really hit this point in, like, media where I think we finally hit a point where we are accepting people of all body types. Like, you're seeing more plus size models, you're seeing more you're seeing more models in ad campaigns with freckles, and just, so I really think we've finally gotten the media on board, and especially advertising media on board, with like, hey, you know what? The whole world's full of different shapes and sizes, so we might as well showcase that. Mm-hmm. So with dieting not necessarily being the big thing now, it is, but it's not. What would be like an appropriate curse, do you think, like, for modern times? Like this Tadzu walks up and runs his thumb across your cheek and goes, like, fewer Instagram followers.
Yeah.
You know, like, what would it be? Like, what would the curse be now?
Something that I would be, like, freaked out about, honestly, would be, like, hair loss.
Yeah, not me.
Yeah, I was going to... As I said that, I'm, like, looking at your head. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that wouldn't bother him.
I actually would encourage it, because then I could quit shaving. But, yeah, like, just rose alopecia. And you're like, no!
Yes.
Yeah, it would be weird. Like, I don't know what curse would hit me, like, to where I would really get it in the feels. Probably, you know, I don't even know how you'd phrase the curse, but, like, no entertainment. You know, like, you're not allowed to watch movies, and, you know, because I'm not a big TV watcher, but I do enjoy my movies, so.
Yeah. Understandable.
That would be bad, so.
That would be a fair one. Yeah, that would not be good, because that would affect a lot of people that you wouldn't even realize.
Me not watching movies?
No, not having movies to watch.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I think you're overestimating our listening audience here, Courtney. Oh, you not being able to watch movies would change the world. Like,
hey, it might.
Oh, okay. All right, so yeah, Billy's losing weight now.
Yeah, and Heidi thinks that he has cancer, and he's not happy because he's like, if I'm overweight, then I'm gonna have a heart attack. If I lose weight, then I've got cancer.
Right.
Like, what will make you happy? Which, I mean,
he's got a point.
Yes.
Like, you wanted me to lose weight, now I am. But I think I get where she's coming from too. Of like, but you're not losing weight. You're losing weight with no effort. Like,
right. Like, and it's so sudden.
Yeah. Like, seriously. And again, just chalking it up to the idiocy of, we as the audience know exactly what's causing this weight loss. How come this lawyer has not figured it out yet?
Exactly.
Ugh. Oh, well.
So, Dr. Mikey, and Billy thinks that his wife and Dr. Mikey are sneaking around behind him.
Yeah.
And so he checks him out. All of his blood levels are great. Everything's good. And he's like, see, I'm just fine. Meanwhile, he realizes that the judge and the officer who also lied to get him off in this case are cursed.
Yeah, they're also stricken with something.
Yes, like one's turned into a lizard. Like his eczema has come back.
Right.
And the other is like burnt.
Yeah, it was really gross. Like the eczema thing, as a person, as an eczema survivor, I say that tongue in cheek. I have eczema, and it's irritating, but it's not as terrible as what some people have. But I do want to say though that the production value of this, like Greg Canham, the special, like the makeup guy, he did a really solid job. Like I would put, again, we're in the mid 90s, and like I was explaining to my wife, I'm like, it's a guy in a fat suit, so it's very much like Monica from Friends in her fat suit. Like it's very obvious that it's not even human looking. But it's like, but still, it's about the best you could probably do at that time. But really, the special effects on the judge and the officer were, and then later on, there towards the end of the movie, like those were, I'll give them props. Like those are kind of gross looking.
Yeah.
When he got in the car with the judge, and he was just like, he looked like it was like a shattered mirror of skin, just everything like sun-baked, like desert wasteland, like broken. It was just gross looking, but
it was. So he's visiting them. He's just disappearing into his own self. I mean, he goes to visit.
Yeah, because there's really only probably about 10 to 20 minutes of this movie where the actor doesn't have any makeup applied. Especially to his face. Like, you could tell that it's just the actor's face. Yes. When his weight loss has finally gotten down to what the actor actually looks like. Before he started getting even thinner than that. But yeah, so you've got like, so he did a decent job too of portraying this character amid facial effects pretty much the whole movie.
Yeah. And meanwhile, the officer and the judge have both... Well, the judge hadn't yet, but the officer had killed himself.
Yeah.
And so Billy tracks down this Romani camp, and he is like... begging at one point for him to take the curse off. Like, this is, I mean, what has this done for you? This is where we find out that this was, like, his daughter.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Like,
this
guy's 106 years old.
Yeah, the old lady, like the 91-year-old lady or whatever, like, you know, the super old lady that got smashed by the car in the beginning is the daughter of this dude.
And so Tadzu is, like, warning him, like, leave, and they call him White Man from Town.
Yeah.
If you don't, then, like, I'm going to make it worse. Gina, who is the...
Romani Hottie.
Yeah, she is very beautiful.
She is. She look good.
She uses her slingshot powers and...
her slingshot powers. It's like, we're watching, like, a terrible superhero movie now.
It is.
Yeah.
And she throws this, like, ball-type thing right through.
Yeah, it's like a
Billy's
ball bearing.
hands.
Yeah. So this is 2 weeks, 2 episodes in a row where we've got slingshot involved in the plot.
Yeah. And he is like, White Man from Town will, like, he curses.
Yeah, he curses them
people.
now, yeah.
And this was kind of funny because, like, Tadzu, like, when he starts laughing and it's just like, I don't know, he's a cute old man.
Also in some prosthetics, but yeah.
So he gets a hold of, I forget who's the mafia.
It was Richie the Hammer Ginelli.
Yeah, and he's like, take care of these people.
Yeah, I feel like the movie it really shifted gears a little bit here.
Yeah.
Like, we kind of went action sequence, and it felt really odd.
Yeah, because, like, he's really sick now. Like, he's like 120 pounds.
Yeah.
And staying in this little, like, row of house, whatever, stay in this little place, is visited by a doctor, and then that's when Richie comes to see him, and he goes and takes care of, does a little White Man from Town curse with the dogs.
Yeah.
And then he does a White Man from Town with with the husband.
Yeah.
Shoots up the village.
Romani Hottie's husband.
Yes. And he hires someone to call him when they light up. And this guy ends up at their house the next day with, like, a chicken head shoved in his mouth, like, and White Man from Town written on his car. And it's just, like, back-to-back, like, sequences of just, like, them going back and forth to each other.
Yeah, it was just, it just felt odd because it's like, it's pretty much, this whole movie was Billy versus Tadzu.
Yes.
But none of that came about in this. It was all like, you know, Richie the Hammer versus everybody else at the camp.
Yes.
You know, it just, it was fine. It felt odd. Like,
yeah.
It's about the only physical thing we had in the whole movie, which I think is probably what kind of made it feel weird. Mm-hmm. It just didn't feel like it fit. Plus, I don't take Joe Mantegna. Or if you're a mafia boss, you're not doing this stuff yourself.
No, you're not.
You're sending your henchmen in, but not Richie the Hammer. He's all like, you know, Schwarzeneggered out as he's infiltrating this camp, and I don't know how many times he was going to throw Gina around, but I felt bad for her.
I know.
Because he throws her against the floor, then he picks her up, throws her against the ladder, and he throws her against the wall, throws her back on the floor, and I'm like, dude, chill.
But she's still with it.
No, yeah.
She was still able to run out of there. But, so, finally, like, all of the kind of, like you had said, action scene has gone through, and Tadzu makes a pie for Billy, because he's like, I'll let you get rid of the curse, but you should probably eat this pie to save yourself.
Right, yeah. That this is your way out of it.
Yeah.
And he takes it, like, squeezes his ball-bearing blood into the pie, and the pie gets to kind of gurgling or whatever. Basically, whoever eats this pie will die quickly, and your curse is gone.
Yeah.
But do yourself a favor and just eat it, because you already are a terrible human being. So.
Yep. And he knows. He has no struggles of who's going to take this curse. It's going to be his wife, because she's cheating on him, and she's the reason that he's in this position. to begin with.
Right.
So
But I'm not blaming her, though. I don't think it's fair to blame her.
He could have been paying attention.
Well, it's still, I don't think this was her desired outcome.
No, definitely. Like, she just wanted to, show her how much she loved him.
Yeah.
And, yeah, he was lost in the moment.
Yeah, he should have offered to pull over.
Yes.
I will give him credit, though. This is like the first piece of food in the entire movie that he has not just broken down and eaten.
Yeah. And so he calls, he lets his daughter know, hey, you got to stay at a friend's house. I'm going to surprise your mom. He surprises the mom. And she has some pie because, of course, it's her favorite pie.
Yep, strawberry blood pie.
Yep, and we flash forward to the next morning where he wakes up and he looks pretty healthy.
Yeah, he looks great.
Because he was on his deathbed for a while. I mean...
That's another thing I got irritated with. Not the deathbed, but when he was losing weight and he was still, pretty, thinner in the face, but still really jowly and super heavy. And his scale said 240. And I'm like, this is bonkers. There is no possible way. I used to weigh that amount, and nobody ever confused me for an obese person.
Exactly.
I don't weigh that amount now, and I still don't get confused for an obese person.
Yeah, exactly. And so he goes to wake Heidi up, and this part was just, it was disgusting.
Gross. The thing is, granted, he didn't know what was going to happen to her necessarily, but he's gross.
He's disgusting here. I was like, I was cringing. I was like, this is nasty. Because he pulls down the covers, and she looks like she'd been rotting in bed for years.
Yeah.
Like, her face looked like it had been eaten off.
Yeah.
And she was, all bloody, and he goes in and just kisses her.
Yeah.
And I was like, what in the world? And he's like, strawberry pie.
Oh, so gross.
I was like, what? No.
I don't get it because there was, I don't know. There wasn't really ever any proof that she cheated on him.
No, there wasn't. He pictured that. He imagined
Yeah, that's all. It's
and that was it.
It's like she wasn't distancing herself from you. She was trying to help you get in better shape. I really do think she cared about him.
Yeah, I do too.
If she was stepping out on him, I don't know. It doesn't really matter now. There is a chance she probably was just because of what's coming up next.
Yeah.
But it's murder?
Exactly.
And how are you going to get off on this one? Your judge and cop buddy are gone.
Uh-huh.
And your wife is dead in your bed.
Maybe he's going to join the mafia with Richie.
No, that's true. He's got connections there.
Yeah. And so he goes downstairs and realizes that there is more than one pie plate in the
sink.
Yeah. And so he starts to panic, and his daughter comes in, finds out she didn't end up staying in a friend's. She came home, worked it out with mom, had some pie for breakfast, and dips her finger in there, gives him a kiss, and is on her way.
I feel I have a really strong relationship with my daughter, Ella, from, of course, a couple of episodes ago. We get along great. She's a preteen, so, of course, we have our issues. But one problem I have with Hollywood parents and children is obviously it's very rare that the parent and the child are actual parent and child. They're just actors. And there's so many movies where Hollywood can't get it right. This daughter was way too flirtatious. She wasn't flirting with her dad, but
her character was very flirtatious.
It was it's I watched this part, at the end, and I'm like,
what daughter dips her finger in the filling and then licks it off and kisses her dad?
Well, not only licks stuff, but in a flirty way.
Yeah, yes.
It's like she's being erotic with the way she licked this strawberry filling. Aside from the fact that she's a teen girl, and then she's kind of pops her hip out, and bye daddy, and kisses him on the cheek, and I'm like, it has been years since Ella has kissed me on the cheek.
Yeah, I mean, my dad and I, like, we're a very loving family.
Oh, yeah, you guys are.
We'll hug, but
yeah.
I'm like, I don't remember the last time I kissed my dad on the cheek.
It's just
I don't remember the last time that he kissed me, like, probably the last time he put me to bed. Yeah. I mean...
Hollywood does that stuff a lot, and I just don't get it. As a father of a daughter, and again, I can't speak for every father-daughter relationship, but it just... They always tend to... I don't want to say sexualize it too much, but they really eroticize it just a little overboard. Like, no, teen daughters typically don't kiss their dads on the cheek.
No.
And wave at them like this. It's like, no, it's like, they don't do that.
Yeah.
At least in my experience.
No, I agree with you, because you never see the teen sons kissing their,
Right.
Like, if they kiss their moms on the cheeks, they're not, like, licking their fingers. And
no, if anything, it's the opposite. It's the moms trying to embarrass their sons.
Yes.
Which itself has its own kind of creep factor. Of like, don't force yourself on your son.
Yeah.
And then in turn, expect him to not force himself on someone else. Like,
yeah.
I don't, and they're always like, you're my son. I'm like, no, that's still, he's a human being. If he doesn't want your affection, don't give it to him.
Personal space, people.
No kidding.
And so there's a ring at the door, a doorbell, knock on the door, I don't remember, but either way, it's Dr. Mikey who is there, and you can tell, like, he's like
surprised.
Oh, like,
yeah, he's surprised.
What are you doing here?
Yeah, he was really surprised to see Billy there. He was expecting to drop by, and
yeah. And Billy is
because Billy was gonna eat the pie.
Yeah, he was,
because he realized his daughter's gonna kick it because of the pie. So he's like, I might as well just finish myself off, and then go. And then the doorbell rings. Yeah,
and so he invites Mike in for
some breakfast pie.
Some breakfast pie. I've never had breakfast pie.
Yeah.
And closes the door with a little smile on his face, and that's where we end.
Yeah. Billy wins.
Yeah.
He does. He wins. He dealt with some hardship there for a while, but he lost weight. He's got off on a murder charge. Not, second degree, but... His ties with the mafia have strengthened. His cheating wife and her cheater are out of the picture. And really his only casualty is his daughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
He wins.
She'll probably go before long, so...
I still don't understand how he gets out of this. Like,
I know.
But whatever. I mean, whatever. I honestly... I was expecting this movie to be a lot worse.
I was too. I actually kind of like this movie.
I did too. It was fun.
Like, aside from, I don't know what you call. Let me see. What is this called? Give me just a second.
Okay. Yeah, I was expecting it to be terrible. So I'm going to give Tom Holland credit, the director of the movie.
Yes.
He helped write it as well. I'm going to give him a lot of credit because the story was a little blah. Definitely was probably not one of Stephen King's best received books. But visually it was fun. The pacing was fine. It got a little weird with the Richie the Hammer stuff.
Yeah.
But the special effects were good. It was what it was. It was okay.
Okay, so what I was looking up was misophonia. I 100% have that. Like, I think that if I were to go somewhere to be diagnosed, I would be diagnosed with it.
Let me guess what it is. Is it the fear of watching people eat?
No, but it has to do with that.
Okay.
It's like when I can hear people eat, when I see people eat, it instantly angers me. Like, I remember one time I was in the car with my aunt and she was chomping her gum and I just started bawling.
You do
And-
not want to be at our home because
No,
both
I
of
probably
neither one of my children understand how to eat quietly.
Oh, it 100% instantly angers me. Like I will cry. Still, 27 years old almost, and I'll cry over someone chewing their food, and it does. So this movie, I really liked it, but it like angered me. I was like, oh my goodness, like quit eating. But other than that, like that's my only complaint about the movie because
I'll have to remember that because there is a movie that I want us to watch. And there's one scene in this movie that is intended to be a gross out, like sound effect ridden, gross out eating scene. Like you got four people around the table, and they're eating, which in itself is one thing, but then they have custard for dessert, and the sounds that they put in when one person in particular is just like wrapping his mouth around the spoon.
I was gonna say I can imagine like.
Yep. Yeah. It
just makes me it makes me cringe.
Yeah.
And thankfully, like Casey is 90% of the time a very quiet eater. Sometimes he'll be like that loud chewing on the inside of his mouth, and I'm like, dude.
Is it the sound of the chewing or the sound of the food? Because like
everything.
But like potato chips, you can't do anything about it.
It doesn't matter. Don't eat them around me. I know. Why do you think I eat in my classroom?
I understand now.
Because like there's one teacher I could hear her breathe when I was eating, and I was like.
How many times have I or your aide, because we eat in there, or even Kaylee, how many times have we like tipped you off while we've eaten in there?
My aide more so because she gets carrots and she eats a lot of veggies.
Gotcha.
And
Fair
it's
enough.
like I'm not gonna.
So you're mad because she's eating healthy.
Yes, and I'm like I'm not gonna be like shut up,
right?
Because she can't control it, but it does. Like sometimes I'll be like. Oh my goodness!
I will admit the out of full respect for you, I will keep that in mind because normally I would be the one then that on Monday I would show up with every loud food offer and just knowing you told me this that's normally what I would do is really
I'll cry.
Can I push you over the edge before your kindergartners come back? But I won't do that because that's what a jerk would do, and I don't want to be a jerk.
But yeah, it is something very, very, yeah. Like I've got plenty of stories I could go on forever.
I wouldn't be surprised if my wife has a dose of that too, because she is constantly on the kids about just we don't have to hear your food.
Yes, and actually, when I went to Taiwan. We were eating and people are eating beef and noodles because that's like and they're like
slurping it up,
and I'm looking around and it's like oh my goodness, but I learned that the louder you eat it was more compliments to the chef. So it was a struggle, really really big time for me over there, but
my kids would be the chef's favorite because they are like those kids really really love all of my food. So let's grade this thing. I'm curious because it surprised me a little bit. Like I was not expecting it. Was it a good movie? No, but it was better.
An easy watch.
Oh, very easy watch. It was one like I mentioned even pre-show. I struggled staying awake, not because it was boring, but just it was a late night, But even when I would wake up, like I didn't miss anything, I knew what was going on. Nothing was really thrown for a loop. So what grade do you give this thing?
I'm giving this grade a B+ because it was just an easy watch. And like I said, aside from the food, I really didn't have any complaints. There was enough of the grossness.
Yeah.
So
good.
For me to say that I don't like Gypsy Curse movies, this one wasn't bad.
Yeah, you liked this one better than Drag Me to Hell.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to go with a B. It was entertaining. Is it one that falls into my category of like watch it every time it's on? No. But I wasn't disappointed. I went in with low expectations, just based on, I mean, the movie came out in 96. So, I mean, reviews are out there. You know, I went in with low expectations of, like, let's just watch it. I know it's a lesser Stephen King movie, but I had a lot of hope for the director. He didn't disappoint. And so I'm going to give it a B. It surpassed my expectations. I was expecting, honestly, probably a C, maybe C minus if it was bad enough. Mm-hmm. But it did. It outperformed my expectations and did a good job. So I'm going to give it a B. What lesson would you take from this?
Okay, so when watching this kind of reminded me of, like, it just kind of spewed, like, eating disorder at me. He did. Which I think is, I don't want to say, like, very, not big, but more people struggle with it than you know.
Yeah.
Or you might, like, want to know. And I just think that, like, no matter, and this is hard for me because watching people eat disgusts me, but, like, don't judge them because it might be something that they physically cannot control. Like,
right.
Like we joked about his willpower because he had none, but it is, to me, it's like, what if he physically, like, just something in his brain just can't shut off and, like, he just has a very unhealthy relationship with food.
Yeah. I agree. It's just the power of addiction.
Yes.
He's addicted to food.
Yes. There you go. That's perfect. The power of addiction.
So, I'm going to take a lesson more on, like, empathy and understanding. Obviously, the big divide in this movie was the Romani gypsy culture. And I really feel like this movie emphasizes just the need for empathy and understanding of dealing with people of different cultures and backgrounds. You know, because they have their own belief system. And I come from the ilk of, if it's not hurting me, whatever.
Yes.
You know, and not even, and I mean hurting. I don't mean, am I uncomfortable? I mean hurting. You know, and not just with, you know, cultural differences, but even sexual preferences and like whatever. Like, you be you. I'm nobody in terms of being able to judge whether or not you should or should not be happy. And so in this case, it was the Romanis came in and they were doing no harm at all, but the powerful people in town ran them out, and it cost them. So have empathy and understanding. If everybody's different, you know, we have conversations, you know, with our kids all the time of, it's, you know, it's just different, and that's okay. Like, different doesn't mean weird. Different just means different, because, you know, and my wife and I tell our kids all the time that, you know, for all of the things your friends are into that you're not, you are into things they are not.
Yes.
So, you know, be careful. You know, don't push someone away just because, well, they like things I don't like. Well, you like things they don't like, but they're not pushing you aside. So
yes.
So that's my lesson, is empathy and understanding. People can be different. That doesn't make them bad. So, all right, good job. You had mentioned last show of busting into the world of Chucky.
Yeah, because, I mean, I thought it was called Chucky. I didn't know it was Child's Play. Right. So,
I do like the Child's Play films. I've seen the first 3. Nope, I've seen more than 3. I've probably seen, there's a whole slew of them. I think I've probably seen 4, maybe 5 of them. The first 2 are very good. The second one is a blast. But Chucky goes through over the course of his movies, he goes through a transition very similar to like what Freddy Krueger goes through. Where in the first couple of Nightmare on Elm Street movies, Freddy is terrifying. But then he becomes popular in pop culture, and therefore they give him a different personality, so he becomes kind of funny and a little bit Bugs Bunny-ish.
Okay.
and less terrifying, but more marketable. And so after the first couple Nightmare on Elm Streets, it wasn't a big thing. But once they changed Freddy's personality, now they're selling Freddy bed sheets and there's Freddy video games. It's like, because now he was something a little different. Child's Play's done something somewhat similar to that. The first one is very good. I'm a big fan of the first one.
And now, is that the 88 one?
Yeah, 88.
Okay.
Also directed by Tom Holland, who directed the Thinner. And again, Tom Holland also directed the original Fright Night, starring Chris Sarandon. Have you seen The Princess Bride?
In like 7th grade.
Okay, so not recently, no. But Count Rugen, who was the six-fingered man, and nope. Count Rugen was played by Christopher Guest. Prince Humperdinck in the Princess Bride was played by Chris Sarandon. Chris Sarandon also plays the vampire in Fright Night, directed by Tom Holland, and Chris Sarandon also shows up in this movie, directed by Tom Holland, and Child's Play. So it's just one of those that, like, they've got a good relationship. Mm-hmm. But the first Child's Play movie is good. It's very good. The second one is bonkers. A lot of fun. Like, it's I really like the second one a lot. But you start to see Chucky delve into a little bit more of a comedian. And by the time he is what he is now, like, they're in the late 90s, early 2000s, they pumped out a couple of Child's Play movies where they were just comedies. They were just pretty much full-blown comedy first, gore second. And so they're fun. They are fun. But they do stray quite a bit from the first one. So yeah, if you're up for it, we will watch 1988's Child's Play. This movie came out when I turned 9. Actually, about a month before my 9th birthday. About a budget somewhere between 9 and 13 million, depending on marketing. Made 44 million. It's good. I really like this movie. I do. So, Child's Play for next week. Hitting another Tom Holland movie. So, but yeah, you got anything to add before we send off?
Nope, not that I can think of.
All right. Well, social media-wise, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We'd also love it if you liked and subscribed and shared and all that other stuff that helps us get the word out. We do enjoy what we're doing here. We do have listeners. We had somebody comment on Facebook after our Critters episode that, hey, love the episode you did with your daughter. She did great. I'm excited to listen to this one. So I'm like, aw, someone listens all the time. So
yes.
Thanks, Mandy. We appreciate you listening.
Mandy, let us know something kind of different. Let us know what foods you would eat.
Yeah.
If leave us a comment.
Yeah, like, if you knew that you could eat anything and not gain a pound, what food would you eat? So, and also, Mandy, chime in, comment down below when we get this posted. What movie you'd like for us to cover? Mandy's a big horror fan.
Okay.
Big horror fan. And so, I know that she's got some movies up her sleeve. So, but otherwise, like I said, you catch us on social media. I keep saying next week, this week, or whatever, but this is our second episode this week because it's spring break. So we'll probably record Child's Play even before we go back to school, which is fine with me. So, but for Deducation, I'm Mike.
And I'm Courtney.
And we'll see you guys next episode. I was going to say next week again, but we'll see you guys later.
Bye.